That's right, I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Knickin' It Weekly Show, our Cram to Understand edition. Can Brunson be the best player on a championship contending team? This is a question we've asked before. And is Mike Brown the upgrade we thought he'd be? Yes to both for me, but over the 4-game losing streak, there have been different opinions on Jalen Brunson that kind of crept up during the 4-game losing streak. To a lesser extent about Mike Brown, but we're here to talk about both. For those that's not familiar with the Cram to Understand, this is more about understanding others' perspective on both of those. Well, the player and coach, and not necessarily, if you don't think Brunson is the best player in a championship, then you don't know basketball. Like it's a little more nuanced than that, right? It's just really trying to understand others' perspective more so than a hard pushback. Just really hoping to understand. I'm looking forward to this conversation, particularly when it comes to Jalen Brunson. I myself feel like it's kind of early for Mike Brown, but we can have that discussion as well. My name is Stephanie, aka Queen. I'm joined by I am Jerrell, Dope Soul alumni, also owner of the New York Giants Live. Period. Right? New York Giants Live. Die Hard Giants Live. You're like, oh, come on, Die Hard Giants. You know what? I think what's the name of your channel, Jerrell?
Yo, you was on the show. You was just on the show 2 days ago. Die Hard Giants. Salute to everybody.
Okay, and the link is in the description. Geoff Klafter from the Happily Ever Klafter Daily Sports blog. The link is in the description and underneath his name. Delusional Knick fan from the Delusional Knick Fan Network. His link is in the description. Ajay DeVillain, Hollywood. No link, but you guys know who he is.
My link is right here. Dope Soul Collective.
Dope Soul Collective.
Well, we missed the green background though. We gotta get that back.
We do. Amen.
Unfortunately, I don't know how to get it back, baby. I have no idea. It randomly appears.
Yeah.
Like, get me upset or something. I don't know. Piss me off, and
then Knick Nation is back, joining us, a full panel. And then also the chat. You guys and gals are just as much of the discussion. So be sure to put your opinions in the chat. I will be following it. I will be going back and forth, putting what's relevant to what we're talking about right now. And then at the end, get as much of them in that I missed. Let's start with Brunson. 4 seasons, right? Is this the 5th?
Oh man.
Or is this the 4th?
This is the 4th.
This is the 4th. All right. So 3 seasons and 30 plus games we've been watching Jalen Brunson. So you can rely on the eye test to answer these questions. You can rely on stats, whatever you want to do. But we're kind of revisiting the question. He got a lot of criticism during that 4-game losing streak. But also, to be fair, he's been getting criticized for some all along, right? In terms of his ball handling habits. Is that a nice way to?
That's nice.
Very PC.
Habits,
That's nice.
And whether or not that's sustainable, and winning the championship. So let's just get right into it. From what you've seen from Jalen Brunson, and what you know about NBA basketball, what you know about playoff basketball, what you know about championship basketball, do you think he can lead us to the finals? He can and be the best player on that team? Yes, no, and why? Why not? Jerrell?
I'm trying to figure out how I can say no, because you already know me. The answer to the question for me is yes. He can obviously be the best player on a championship team. I think Jalen Brunson is one of the best clutch players, if not the best clutch player in the NBA right now. I don't know, like this question, I'm not saying it's weird because I know how fans are, and there's a whole bunch of recency bias usually.
Right.
I think that 4-game losing streak, just like it always is, fans, try to jump out the window when it comes to stuff. But Jalen Brunson is playing pretty much just as well as he played last year and the year before that. Like, he's averaging maybe a little bit more. I think he's averaging almost like maybe 3 points a game. That's a lot. It might not seem like that. Averaging 3 points is like at 30. But I think it's like one less assist. He's shooting pretty much the same from the 3 and the 2. So I think maybe in some clutch situations he has had a couple turnovers and stuff like that, but he's always done stuff like that. So I don't know why this question is really relevant now, other than that 4 game. So I would definitely say yes, because that 4 game streak could change my mind and play it off.
Your audio is faded. Is that just me?
No,
I
I
heard it
just
faded.
I just thought it was my bad hearing.
I don't know. So y'all
Now we hear you clearly. Now you're clear.
So y'all didn't hear none of that. I was spitting. Y'all didn't hear that.
We heard a good portion.
Oh, my bad. Well, I'll say it again. I don't know why this question. Like, I'm not saying the question is irrelevant because I know how fans could be, but I think it's just a 4 game losing streak, and that's why this question is popping up. But Jalen Brunson hasn't done anything this year so far to make me change my mind with that question, because we actually asked this question pretty much every year since he's been here. But yeah, I think he can definitely be the best player on the championship team. I think a lot of it has to do with the other players that he's around, and maybe his connection with Cat could be a little bit better. But other than that, from his play personally, just him alone, I don't see him like he's the reason why we're had that losing streak, or he's the reason why we wouldn't continue excelling in the playoffs at all. I think it will be other factors for that. So for me, he definitely can be the best player on a championship team.
Okay. All right. Geoff?
Yeah, I definitely think he can be. But a wise woman once told me, well, maybe more than once, but she said, you're not really a championship player until you win that championship, right?
Yep.
And so I respect that person very much. She may or may not be on this panel. But so from that standpoint, he hasn't done it at the NBA level yet, but he was a champion in college. So I think he does have that pedigree. When you look at the way that he can command and take over a game, when you look at the fact that he's a playoff riser, I mean, I think at one stretch he had like 10 30-point games in a row or something crazy like that. Like, he was in the same conversation. It was like him and Michael Jordan that had that. And so I think, do you have to build the right team around him to make that happen? Yes, but Jordan needed the right team around him too, right? He had to have Pippen, he had to have Grant, he had to have all of these other guys. So it's always going to be a team game. So other than maybe Kareem for the Bucks back in this, and he even had Oscar Robertson, there's not very often a player just puts a team on his back and wins a championship on their lonesome. So, you have to craft the right team around him, but he has the tools. He's the big time shot maker. He's not afraid of the moment. He has ice water in his veins. He's got the will to win, so I honestly believe that he can, but until he does, the answer unfortunately is no.
Any concerns about the deeper you get into the playoffs, the better the teams are? And Brunson at times, you can argue, doesn't process the game well in terms of that distinction between when should I go for my shot, when should I get others involved. Any concern that once you get to that level, that your process has to be a bit more on point, or do you feel like he's still growing, and by the time we get there, he'll be there, and that might even be a marker of us getting there? Because if he doesn't learn that, we might not get there.
I think that's a great question. In my opinion, you have to learn how to be champions. I think that Michael Jordan had to go through the bad boy Pistons, and he failed multiple times before he got there. And the Pistons had to learn by beating Magic and the Lakers, and so forth and so on down the line. And and Kobe and Shaq were there, and Tim Duncan and company kind of had to figure them out. Then the Warriors had to figure out the Spurs, and so on the dance goes. So I think that there is, I think there's a learning curve when it comes to those sorts of things, especially when you're the top dog. I mean, it took Jordan 7 years before he won his first championship. LeBron James didn't win right away, and he had to form the Super Friends in order to get there for the first time. And even then, I think Dallas beat them in the first year that they were there. So even with the superior talent, he had a learning curve as it went. And so I don't think that it's any different for Brunson. I think he has a learning curve too, and I think that where he is on that curve is tough to tell. I don't guess we'll know fully until we see him in the playoffs this year. But I feel like he's elevated his game every season in the playoffs, and we'll have to see if he can really carry everybody else with him, and if we have the right mix of players around him to get the job done, and we'll find out more as we go along. But I think that we do. But I do think, like we said earlier, I think it's imperative that he and Towns get a little bit more synergy when they're on the court together for us to reach our ceiling.
I will say you don't even have to go that far back. Giannis had to, it took him a few times, and it took Tatum a few times as well. Delusional. What's your thoughts and any concerns or anything you're hoping to see over the next?
Regarding JB, I do not have any concerns. Mainly the finding a player to hide him on, but I believe during playoff time he could kind of step it up. We saw last night with him being a lot more aggressive defensively, and with JB, it's just him putting the pressure on the ball. Honestly, just sticking with his defender. But as far as the scoring wise, this is someone that we've seen come in here and change the organization, put the team on his back, make clutch plays after clutch plays. We've seen regular season each year, his numbers get better. Then, of course, the playoffs, he takes it to the next level. So when you have a player like that, that tells you that he can get us there. And the confidence when he hit the buzzer in Indy, we watched the replay, what he said, I told them I was going to knock down that shot. That takes confidence in a player that the organization could get behind, especially when you have Jim Dolan coming out and saying that we're going to win a championship. I'm like, hold up, sir. Let's take it easy. We got to get there. But if you have Dolan's confidence very high to where he's not messing with the team, he's letting everything kind of plays out, that tells you that everyone has faith in Jalen Brunson and believe that he's the A1. To Jerrell's point, we need a 1B. You need someone next to him that can also pair. Mike had Scotty, so Kobe, Shaq had Kobe, so once they got those players, they were able to get it to the next level. So besides Brunson is the 1A. It's just really getting that 1A2 or the A2 next to JB to kind of get us over the hump.
So Cat is not a 1B.
It's tough when you bring that up because it's a lot of little things and there's a lot of mental things that Cat do that hurt us. And it's when it's playoff time, you would want to see Detroit. He was phenomenal. I appreciate that Detroit series where we had with Cat where he stepped up. Then again, that brings another situation. Tibbs knew how to utilize Cat, which is why Cat was awesome. This year, we're seeing a regression, and it's only due to Cat trying to adjust to the system when the system should be adjusting to Cat, and be completely honest. But that's the situation of why I'm like, okay, if it's taking Cat this long to really get adjusted, and we're pretty much almost to the halfway mark, and we're still struggling to kind of get him into the rotation, playoffs is around the corner. So I don't have the faith to say he's the A2. He could be the B1.
Wow. Okay. All right. We talk about Brunson and Ajay. You can answer that question. I'm gonna throw this into the mix as well. We talk about Brunson rising in the playoffs in terms of his scoring, right? Is that what we're returning to? Like showing up, being there for us. You cannot take him out of the game. Is there a have you noticed an increase in his process in the playoffs as well? Ajay, you can answer any direction you want to go.
Well, first of all, in terms of whether he could be the best player on on a championship team, that narrative is kind of weird to me. And I remember, a couple of years back, that was such a big talk with Becky Hammond and everybody talking all their nonsense. Like very often people confuse historical data with like actual, with probability, so to speak, because some things hasn't happened or it doesn't happen too often. That doesn't mean that it can't happen. Do you know what I'm saying? Like historically, yeah, you've had teams where, like a vast majority of championships won with, not with the smallest player on the court being the best one, right? Or, that doesn't mean it can't happen. We've had all kind of makeup, all kind of structural makeup of teams that won the team. You've had teams where, the big man is just there to grab rebounds and just throw a body in the mix, Like how many dominant center has Michael Jordan played with? So there's all kind of makeups. So because historically it hasn't happened, I don't even understand why that's a narrative. Like Jerrell said, it depends on the team that you have around that guy, right? If you have complementary pieces, or if you have good chemistry, like everybody know their role and everybody knows what they got to do. Everybody know what to do, when to do it. They know where to be. They know how to play. They know, this guy, his role is grabbing rebounds and, spray it out. This guy is, set good picks and you know what I'm saying? Like everybody know their role, I think we'll be fine. So it doesn't matter who your best player is or who your, 1A, 1B or 1A, 2, 1 and 2A, 2B. Like I don't even think it matters. It just depends on, the makeup of the team. Like everybody's got to understand their role. Like what is your job on the team, right?
So you're saying that you don't, as long as everybody knows their role, you don't even need a all-star, all NBA player on your team like a Brunson or a Tatum or a Giannis or a.
That's what I'm saying. Detroit Pistons with Ben Wallace, they didn't have a crazy superstar, but everybody knew their role. Everybody knew what their job was on the team, and they perfected their job. They performed well on the court, and then they won the championship. Even Dallas Maverick that beat the Miami Heat. They had superstars, but all the pieces knew their role on the team.
But that's two separate things, Ajay. One is having a superstar, and then everybody else falling in line, knowing their role, and the other one is not even needing.
I give you both example. An example of a team that I don't think had a super duper star, but everybody knew their role, and another team that actually had one, but also everybody knew their role. To say that the most important thing is like everybody knowing their role on the team, like the common ground, the common.
No, I get that. How many teams built like the Detroit Pistons though won the championship? Like, can you say that in this day and age, you need one of them dudes?
I don't think it matters what day and age. Okay. Like, again, historically, because that doesn't mean it can't happen. Mm-hmm. It's not a stat that it doesn't happen. It's just history, but that doesn't mean it can't happen.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's historical, but it's not a stat. It's not a fact or a statistical fact, I should say. So
okay. So you think that if Brunson, that being said, even if Brunson is not at his best, if everybody else is playing their role to a T, the Knicks can still win a championship?
Well, it's obviously a clearer path if everybody's at their best, right? That includes Brunson, because Brunson he's part of the collective. He's part of the team, right? So you could fairly say that if Josh Hart is not at his best, you can't win a championship. or if Deuce McBride's not at his best. Brunson could be like at the top notch, but you need that 9 points from Deuce or that little ball pressure from Deuce McBride. Everybody need to be at their best, and everybody need to play their role. Everybody need to do what they do on the team to the best of their ability on that championship run.
Okay, all right. Nick Nation, what's your thought on the conversation thus far? Or wherever you want to go with it.
Well, I'm going to say yes as far as Brunson, with a strong caveat, though, an important caveat. It seems to like, which we're all witnessing, especially in this 4-game streak here, when certain times where things get really tight and compressed, Brunson can revert back. And when he reverts back at times, because he's still an ultimate competitor, he's the ultimate driving force. But there's his times where it could be a detriment to the team. He's getting his points at time or getting his shots up, but it begins to set a bad path, I believe, for the players around him. I'm going to say it in this way, and this maybe it sound a little weird, but Brunson's alpha ability kind of dolphins down Cat's personality, it looks like at times. Because when Brunson is just going sometimes, and he forgets about the system. And it's not about just him feeding Cat, but it's the feeding the point and the system. And even when the times are hard, I believe, to be a championship team, you must still stick to your core values and you must still stick to that system. And what we've seen sometimes is Brunson just go boom and say, no, I'm going to then put it back on my back. And then all of a sudden it looks back like, is it Mike Brown over there or is it Tibbs over there? So with that being said, it's like I thought that Deuce McBride, his post conference last night, and when he spoke, and he, and a reporter asked him like on certain mishaps, and he kind of basically in a summation here is that we got to still play within the system, and we can't allow to do the one-on-one. We got to still, when it's hard, to still stay in that system. And to me, like I say, Brunson and all these guys to get us there. But like you say, to be a champion is to be a champion. And then I feel in order for him to get us to that next level, he's still going to have to mentally lock down and stay within that system. And I think that a lot of times it gets overly exaggerated now because you have you have another point guard that is opposite of him in that sense, where he is more of a pass first point guard. And a lot of people love that and are going to fall in love with that because that is how they know and see basketball. That is how they know and see a point guard. And it's really is more about a name only or name of a position only in a sense, because like we say, Brunson truly is a combo guard. He can provide those points of those passes, but does he at times? He made it. Like I said, Deuce's words really showed, and I think them having that team meeting, when you saw him come out and make a concerted effort, an extreme concerted effort, because he only had 7 shots sometime mid-third quarter. That's not a Brunson game, as we
12
know.
attempts total, yeah.
So what that told me was that, hey, that message was passed. And he, and as a team, they heavily absorbed it and went to work and went back to the system. And currently, against the competition and everything, it worked out and it worked well.
Do you think, though, this is the blueprint, Brunson taking 12 shots a game?
I think it's more of not necessarily 12 shots. I think it's more of it was the efficiency of the 12 shots.
He's not going to shoot 75%, though.
But I mean, that's for sure. Hey, you know what I mean?
And
that's definitely not going to happen.
50% is what, 12 points?
But to be honest, as a team,
No, 12. Yeah, that means he hit 6 of them. That would be
Yeah, well, it depends if it's threes, twos,
right. Yeah. True.
But would it look like, to be honest with you, if that was, and if this team can still carry that, but are you going to get, shooting nights like that consistently from Deuce McBride? Are you going to get these nights where Cat, stays mentally locked in and battles no matter what, take that physicality? That remains to be seen. But I still say that regardless of this, if you show that the team, because he's the captain, that he has to be more locked in than everybody else because people line up and take the lead behind him. I think he sets the main temperament. And when that temperament, and when he goes off the temperament, I think it allows a lot of the team to start going out that way.
Do you think it's a fine line for a scorer, not just Brunson, and a scorer in the mode of Brunson? That could be SGA, Luke, or somebody who does have that talent. Do you think it's a fine line for the player and the coach between, making sure they're not stymied and they're playing their game the best they can, and making sure, in Brunson's case, because he's playing that point guard position, others are involved? Do you think that's a fine line? Because you can go the other way as well, where Brunson just becomes a facilitator, and I don't think we getting out the second round. I just don't think we have those types of players around him. What's the line? Ajay, we'll start with you. I already know it.
No, I mean, no, and I'm gonna try to be like a little open-minded about it. So
that's why we cram to understand. You can say your point. We just trying to understand each other. We don't have to agree.
I mean, yeah, you're right. He does not have those kind of players around him, and you know how I feel about it, man. Like I've said this many times here, man. If you're passing the ball and nobody else is doing anything with it, man, I want you to shoot the ball. Name of the game is, whoever score the most point and prevent the other team from scoring wins the game, right? Some games it may require him to be a little more aggressive, like to go for his shot. Listen, sometimes there be games that Cat don't have it, right? What do? Keep feeding him, he keep missing, or he keep committing fouls and stuff. You're the captain. You're controlling the game. You're controlling the tempo. Sometimes you gotta be able to pick up on that. Say, you know what? Or even if you divide this on a by quarter basis, you'd be like, all right, let's he's having a tough time in the first half. After we come back from the locker room, let's try to feed him again, see what happens. But if the guy's not having a good game, man, do you go down just because you want to be a distributor, or you want to be a good teammate, or name of the game, you got to try to win the game. You got to do what you got to do. You sacrifice your stats, your assist, quote unquote stats or whatever. But you bump up your scoring stat, you bump up your stuff. You got to do what you got to do, man, to win the game, and you got to be able to read the game. If one of you guys, like OG, during that stink stretch, like OG had some bad games. Like, do you keep feeding him? Like, and he keep tripping over his foot, driving. Like, at some point, I'd be like, OG, you could just play defense, man. I got the score. I'll take care of that. So you got to go with the game, man. I'm not with that, force distributing ball just so you can be like a good quote unquote point guard and up your assist numbers. Again, that Queen assist is a 2-part, right? Pass the ball, the other guy got to make the shot. You keep passing the ball, they ain't making the shot. It's not an assist. So you just you got to try to win the game, man. If it requires you scoring 50 points, then you go out there and score 50 points.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on either what Ajay said? We'll get to the chat as well, or just that, where that line is. Delusional?
I agree with Ajay to a certain extent. There's certain times period where sometimes the team don't got it, and we all play ball. We all had that moments of where if the ball ain't drop it, then it's like, all right, I know what I can rely on, and put in that work. My thing with JB is, it seems like it's already embedded in his brain that the first quarter is his. Similar to what Melo played the whole entire first quarter. That's when Melo is dropping. He's going to get his 15. So it seems like he has that same mentality of where first quarter is here. I'm fresh. I'm going to get us up and running. I'm going to get the engine going. I'm going to knock down most of these shots. And that can, take Cat out of his rhythm. And even just the positioning in general, I think the system don't fit them too, because, or it could be that Brunson is breaking the system more. Maybe that could be it. Similar to where Melo was breaking the triangle when we had the triangle here in New York. I think that's probably the system where he needs to find Cat more, because OG has his touches. We've seen where he can easily get 20 a night just off of just 45 cut, catch and shoot on the side. Mikal still get his mid-range attempts, getting fast break opportunities. But where do we see Cat? Just primary at the high post, getting assists or just attacking, and last minute 3-point attempt. So it's like, where do we get him involved at? So I think once we figure that out, I think we'll be rolling to where Brunson can still get his, because we need those. Like, that's the engine. That's how we continue to push it. Let him continue to be aggressive. Cat just need to be aggressive in that system to where it works, to where everyone else can feed off those movements.
Yeah. 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 Nick Nation, then I'll get to you, Geoff, and then Jerrell. Who's you want to go now, Jerrell? Because I know you said you was leaving at it's okay. Just where's the line for you between Brunson scoring and facilitating?
For me, it's still ultimately because it's still some. Well, we can't even really call it an install anymore, but it's still the first year for them, running this system. And I think that we've seen this movie before. Is that we can, when he does go off and does what's names, it gets us to a certain point. But our ultimate goal is still to get to that point of that championship. So to me, I just still think we know that he can score. I know that he can score 50. We've seen him score 60. The issue is that I still haven't seen him win a championship. And I think that comes with a lot more responsibilities. I think that he has to still at times still say to myself, hey, I know I can do this, but I need to bring my teammates along with me. And, we've seen teams that say, hey, when Brunson starts to go off, then all of a sudden they either trap him, or they blitz him or things like that. And where he can get off and he can still sometimes even score. But does that win us the game a lot of times? Not sometimes, when your competition's going to get stiffer and where that, hey, this is the things tighten up. As we know, playoff basketball is totally different. You're not going to get away with that for so many times. And to beat a game and to beat a team in a 7-game series, you got to play the long game. And the long game is having your teammates being in the best possible positions and being the best possible players and being the best possible united team as we go forward. I know it may sound cliche, but to me, a lot of these cliche points, these guys are what's named the champions. Because when I look at OKC, you can look at them. Those guys played for each other last year. You could see it. Even though they still had a great point guard, the rest of the team still ate, because he knew that he couldn't do it by himself. But in crunch time, a lot of times, yeah, they was on his back. You know what I mean? SGA, he performed. And this is which I don't think that we're looking for any more than that. I think we're looking, I think he found that line. I think Brunson can find that line as well.
SGA is one of the highest ISO players in the league, though.
Yes, but his team, but if you looked at the scoring points, his team, for them to win, he still had multiple players that contributed.
Yeah, they're going to have to.
Ours sometimes what looks like is happening is they get less aggressive, they cower, and then all of a sudden is when Brunson does get the pass on the ball, it's 6-7 seconds. They panic and they're throwing it back to somebody else, and all of a sudden we're not getting the same shot points with this.
Yeah, I hear that, but it's important for me. For me, I'm not going to confuse the 4-game losing streak with how Brunson has been playing the entire season.
Oh, I'm not listening that. I'm not listening that.
Because prior to that, were there times when Brunson would go, one-on-one? Absolutely, but it wasn't to the level as it was on the during the 4-game win streak. I think when you have ball dominant guards, it's fine. It's a fine line, and it's difficult. It's not easy for them to find that line. If you watch a SGA game in and game out, sure, the other guys get the ball too, but trust me, he takes his fair share of isolation shots, as well as Luka. These dominant ball dominant guards. It's to me, it's more about process. It's more about picking your spots. It's more about understanding the entire game, having that macro in your head. What's the best time to do this? What's the best time to do that? Who's hot? Who's not? Who do I need to get going right now so that they can be ready, in the fourth quarter? And when is it time for me to take over? Because I'm not getting nothing from Cat. Like Ajay said, OG fell twice already. We just getting into the game. Bridges is being mad casual, and so listen, it's time for me to step up. So I need Brunson to get better in his process. And maybe that's what we're all talking about. I just need his process to be better. I still need him to be super aggressive on the offensive end, because I feel like that opens up really good looks for the other players if he chooses to pass it, right? So I still need him to be aggressive and just kind of read the defense a little better. But before we get to the chat, Jerrell, Geoff, Jerrell first and Geoff, or either way, just your thoughts on that fine line between scoring and getting others involved. Do you think that's something he still needs to learn, or do you feel like he's there?
Geoff, you want to go?
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, for me, yeah, I think the thing that you can say about Jalen Brunson's offensive game, the one knock that you can say about him is just that. Like, we talk about his floor game pretty much every year that he's been here. I think he's formed himself into a scorer. Like, he wasn't like this in high school. He wasn't like this in college. He was not a dominant scorer in either one of those levels. But for some reason, he patterned himself as a scoring combo guard, except for, instead of somebody that distributes the ball most of the time like he did when he was in college and high school. But since he's done that, I mean, does he have to have a better floor game if you move him to the 2 and get somebody else to be the point guard? I don't know why it seems like we're putting like a round peg in a square hole sometimes. Like, we just want him to do this. We want him to do that. Why don't the coach or the person who is, shaping up the roster actually get somebody that can help him do that?
Would you be in favor of moving him to shooting guard full time, or are you in favor of just having two guards who can kind of interchange and play on and off the ball?
Either or will be fine. I'm definitely okay with him moving to the 2 and having somebody else play the 1. That 1 just isn't on the team yet. Like, we have to have a bigger 1 that can actually play the 2 on defense. I don't expect Jalen Brunson to actually, pick up every point guard or 2 guard, depending on who's the dominant scorer on the other team. Like, he's not the best defender. But as somebody that watched Allen Iverson his whole career, move him to the 2 and get somebody to facilitate the offense. Like, seem like that's the easy way to think of this. But, I guess it's hard to actually get that person. Point guards like that could, that type of archetype isn't normal. But I think in order for Jalen Brunson to be full Jalen Brunson and we actually get everything out of him to win a championship, a move like that is needed.
So in other words, don't even task him with improving his process and what have you. Just get somebody else in here that's going to.
Because that improving the process part, that's on him. And he's been in the league for 8 years. Like, it's almost to the point that you either play that way or you don't. I'm not saying that he can't get better at it, but if that's the part of the game that isn't like, elite level and everything else is, why don't you help him out and have somebody else facilitate the offense? Like, to me, it seemed like that's simple. It's just the archetype to find that person, that player. That's the difficult part, but the solution is simple to me.
Who can you give me some examples of not necessarily that they're available, just archetype type players? I know last game somebody said Sean Livingston, who played for Golden State before he retired.
Yeah, and the Clippers before, like he was a real facilitating point guard before he got hurt. His athleticism left him after that. He had like multiple knee injuries, but before Sean Livingston got hurt, he was pretty much, deemed like the next Penny Hardaway. He was 6'7", facilitator, point guard. Like those are hard to find. That's what I'm saying. You can't just find a Magic Johnson or a Penny Hardaway or somebody like that. But you can get an Eric Snow somewhere. I'm not saying that guard has to be an all-star.
Gotcha.
We need somebody to do a job.
A Trey Jones,
right? Somebody like that. A bigger point guard that can actually play the 2 on defense and not be like some type of liability. Like he can still score, but I say Eric Snow, somebody better than that on offense, but that type of archetype, like just a bigger guard that can facilitate and play defense.
Geoff, your thoughts on the balance, the process, and now whether he should move to shooting guard?
I think we get too caught up in these positional designations, to be honest. I think that we grew up in a time where you had, we have these thoughts like John Stockton is the point guard and Karl Malone is the power forward and Mark Eaton is the center and things are a lot more fluid, and I think in the modern game. And I think that if you have a point guard who's more of a scorer, I think that's natural, and I think it's more about the league is just a league of guards and forwards and big men, guards, wings, and big men, like however you want to categorize. I mean, Cat is sometimes a 5, sometimes he's a 4. And the Knicks especially like to have players with positional versatility. I know it drives JJ nuts when we have the Mighty Mites in the backcourt, but we play Brunson with Kolek and Clarkson and guys who aren't that big and they kind of share those responsibilities. So to me, I think the game is just a lot different now. And if we're hoping to get John Stockton like production from Jalen Brunson, I think we're wasting Jalen Brunson, right? I don't think that's his game. So I think that we should expect Jalen Brunson to be the best Jalen Brunson he can be. Now, incumbent in that, and part of that is Jalen Brunson is a high IQ player, and he can, see what's going on and attack and give what the and take what the defense is giving him, especially if he's getting doubled quickly up top, get the ball out to a guard or to Josh Hart and let us attack 4-on-3 and punish the defense and those sorts of things. I think that we as a team can certainly run more plays like a pick and roll with Towns, for example. I know I'm beating that horse to death, but just as an example to maybe get him more touches early on, get him more involved. But I think that we need to let Brunson be Brunson, and that doesn't always mean that he's like this, archetype point guard that we want him to be. And, he still averages 7 assists a game. So it's not like he never passes the ball or that he's, he does take the most shots on the team, but he has the ball in his hands the most. That's kind of,
and he's the best player. And the best player should take the most shots on him.
Absolutely. 100%. But also it's easier to take the most shots when you don't have to be set up for those shots, right? Like you don't have to run a play for Jalen Brunson. The play is you give him the ball and he gets to whatever spot he wants to on the floor and he gets a bucket. Like there's not a whole lot of people that can do that in the league. I think that Brunson can improve, but the Knicks are better. The Knicks are a better team with Brunson. The Knicks floor with Brunson on the team has been a second-round playoff team. That's been their floor. We didn't get to the second round of the playoffs, but once in the 25 years before that, or 20 years, whatever it was. And so, you say that. I mean, you can't really say that he can't win a playoff series. He hasn't won the Eastern Conference Finals yet. Okay, that you can say that. If you want to criticize him for the Indiana series, okay. He wasn't the only one who didn't show up in the Pacers series, in my opinion. And again, we had that collapse down the stretch in Game 1. I think you can argue if we hold on to Game 1, we win that series, and I don't think we would have beat the Thunder in the finals because I think that's a bad matchup for us. But so you're talking about maybe 1 or 2 games, and so I don't know. I think that we get so boggled down in the minutia here that it kind of becomes a silly conversation a little bit. Just let him be the player that he is. He's an elite player. And, we can expect more from him. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. But, I don't think he's ever going to be an 11 assist per game guy. And so what is the right number of assists for him to be? And maybe it's not the right number of assists. What's the right number of passes? What's the right number of, what's the right shot distribution even for him to have been a good point guard that night? I don't know that those questions have easy answers. As far as I'm concerned, would I like to see him get Towns more involved early on in games? 100%. And I think that's something that he can do easily. But for the most part, I'm not worried about, is he a true point guard? Is he a combo guard? Is he, to me, all that's semantics.
I agree with that. He has the ball in his hand a lot, Geoff. Whether you call him a point guard or not, he has the ball in his hands a lot, and he's the one making the most decisions, or at least the initial decisions on the team. And you're right, we're a better team. We've been a better team since Brunson has been here. Our floor has been the second round of the playoffs. That's like Pat, right? When Pat was here, that was our floor, and he's brought that back. To get to the next level, though, do you think he has to get better with the ball in his hand in terms of his decision making?
Sure.
Or do you feel like, or are you just saying let Brunson be? And
I think we all need to get better to win a championship, though. We can't win a championship without Brunson. We can't win a championship if Cat's not at his best. We can't win a championship without a lot of things. I think that can he be better? Does he need to be better? Yes, but we've also seen him be a playoff riser, right? We've seen his game improve in multiple playoff series, and a lot of times he had absolutely zero help around him, and he was still, the best player on the floor in against Miami, for example. And did he make mistakes in that series? Absolutely, but he was so vital you could hardly take him off the floor. And so, I think it's, I think that the impact that he makes on the game is kind of being understated a little bit.
I don't know. You think we're questioning his impact on the game, or more questioning whether what he's doing in the regular season is going to be enough to not get us to the finals?
I kind of put them together. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the conversation, but I kind of put them in the same bucket.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm gonna get to the. Anybody else have anything to say really quick? I'm pretty sure the chat is gonna bring some other perspectives for us to.
Chat's on fire.
The chat is on. This is a good conversation to have. It's almost like for a few seasons you couldn't say anything about Brunson, even if you had these thoughts in the back of your head, like you couldn't say anything. And now people are feeling like it's that time. We've seen him now for 3.5, 3.25, it's that time. Let's have a conversation.
The only thing I have to say is that the chat, it seems to be weird, is that people either leaning on one side like it's a civil war, and it really shouldn't be. You're either Cat, you're either Brunson. You're either Cat or Brunson.
Oh,
You know,
they talk.
I'm just saying it's not about that.
Today, but, okay.
Yeah, it's not even about that. It's just about the team we're observing. But
We
that's
haven't
just
even
the only thing I would say.
we haven't even mentioned Cat yet.
Yeah, no, you're going at it. Yeah.
Let me guess who in the chat.
Nah, you don't need
we already know.
Kim
For
Doc
real?
goes to y'all. With everything going on, I'm thankful to have a place to escape far away. Go Knicks. I think they're going to be fine, be just fine when we're 100%. Yeah, I do want to.
You did have a super chat earlier too, though. Just to
Okay.
let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get to the super chat. I do want to send my, I don't even condolences, deepest sympathies, not just to the Minneapolis, victim and her family, but also to that community, right? Just a few blocks away from where George Floyd, was killed also, and just deepest sympathies to well, I shouldn't say to the world. Everybody feels different. Other people may feel like things are just fine right now. It happened the way it should, but
No.
So somebody
Wish that on nobody.
it just seems like a sad time for me.
Tough
In terms
times.
of where we are, but I get it. People may feel different about it. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there before getting to the super chat. Paris Duggar, appreciate you and your
Always.
generous support. I find it so funny that people want Brunson to pass the guys when he sees they have fear in their eyes. When they look confident, he passes the ball. What do you guys think about? Like, do you think? Yeah, thoughts?
It's the game of basketball. If you're getting trapped, you gotta move the ball. I wouldn't say if they look confident, they're gonna stop JB. I think JB got the utmost confidence that he could go against anybody, Paris. But I do believe that when he is trapped, he would definitely try to find certain players that he know he could rely on. And JB is a willing passer. I don't want to put too much on him saying that he's not, but it's might be that Mamba mentality is where I know I'm going to get this shot off. With you, it's probably 50-50. But with JB, he has that confidence to where he knows that, okay, that floater is an automatic game. I worked at it for years. We see the young videos of him doing that. So I even have a similar mindset to that. Me in the mid-range, I feel like I'm probably better than certain NBA players because of the repetition and the times that I've hit that shot in my sleep. So these are how NBA players think. So to save JB on that one, yes, he would definitely take his shot over anybody on the team with that aspect. But he still is a willing passer, especially if he's getting trapped or if they guard him a certain way and he knows that, okay, OG will be open in that. He's going to feed OG in the corner from running this set or, getting hit in the pinch. So that's my perspective on that pass.
Do you think also, though, that's part of the decision making? Like, I get what you're saying. When he gets in that key, that's automatic.
He's not going to pass.
I'm passing that out to OG. I don't know which OG we got tonight. Is this the OG that's knocking down shots or is not? But do you feel, though, because he has the ball in his hands, that he should pass it anyway?
I'm gonna be honest, Queen. No,
Okay.
no. I'm gonna be like, because 4-game stretch was different, right? We that's when everybody's viewing on and they're like, oh, okay, this is getting ridiculous. But before that, he was doing the same thing. Remember, his touches are down way more than it was last year. So it's a different Brunson. It's still within the system. It's more like Shea of where he has these moments. First quarter is JB. Fourth quarter is JB. Those are the main quarters that we see JB put up the most attempts. If we're down coming into the half, third quarter is going to be where his attempts is up. So you can see how the game dictates of where he's going to get his attempts from. It really depends. If we have that lead in that first quarter, in the second, he's sitting down, that's Cat's minutes. Remember, Brunson's sitting for a while during that time. So it's still no reason for Cat to have 4 attempts at the half when you had that second quarter for you to be aggressive. Now, is that the system or is that Cat? Who knows? But no, I would still, if I'm Brunson, I would still attack it the same way because that's how the team are going to adjust to that. Now that shot for OG is going to be open even more. Now Mikal would get those opportunities because now the teams are adjusting for Brunson being aggressive. And that should open up everything else. Even the lob. Multiple times we run the pick and roll. You see Mitch just kind of floats there. That's an opportunity for him to pass it. So he needs to get better on that aspect because his offensive and being aggressive opened that up for Mitch. So that should be an easy bucket that he might need to take advantage of. But like you said, you get in there, that's 90% for Brunson in that paint.
But I think that's part of what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
If you're a shoot first point guard, there's nothing wrong with that, because to me that just really opens things up for others. But when it opens the things up for others, you kind of have to find them, you know? So that's what I'm saying about the fine line. I don't think Brunson has to change his aggressiveness or his assertiveness. I think it's more about the reads. I think it's more about the reads. I don't want him to be a facilitator. I don't think it matters whether you're pass first or shoot first. I don't think it matters. They both will open up opportunities, and it's just more about taking advantage of it. And I do think Brunson could get better at that personally.
The way that our team has been playing, especially during that 4 games stint, right? Like OG and Bridges and Cat, like hot
messes.
Like the way that they played, I'd have told them to get it off the glass too. Like, are y'all crazy? Like the way that they was playing, why would Jalen Brunson be passing them the ball if they playing like that? Like, I think he just gets the blame because obviously he's the leader and that's what leaders do, get the blame. But at the end of the day, like we was talking about OG being an all-star this year. Cat had 6 and 1 in a game. And started the all-star game last year. That wasn't Jalen Brunson's fault. None of that is Jalen Brunson's fault. At the end of the day, everybody has to be playing well in order for us to win a championship, whether Jalen Brunson's floor game improves or not.
Do you think this criticism is just about the 4-game losing streak, or do you think it's long-standing? The criticism we've been seeing in our chat, who's been active the entire season, including the 4-game losing streak.
Well, like if you remember, the same criticism that he's getting now is pretty much the same. Like, it's not that much criticism that has gone on Jalen Brunson because it's not that much to criticize. But the stuff that they criticize is the same things that they've been criticizing. Him not passing and him not playing defense very well. Other than that, what can you say? Like, they've been talking about he needs to pass more, have more assists, like he's supposed to be John Stockton since he's gotten here. I never understood it, but it is what it is. I think just some people, when it comes to point guards in general, they just see how a point guard should be playing, and he doesn't play like that. So they put him in a box that he should be playing like that. Like, this is 2026 now. Like, it's not that many point guards that play point guards how y'all want them to play point guards anymore. They're not even trained like that anymore. Coaches don't coach like that anymore. There's not that many John Stocktons anymore. Very, very rare.
So you don't have an issue with his shot attempts and that sometimes he dribbles a bit, or do you think sometimes he dribbles a bit too much? You don't particularly have any issues with his game up to this point?
Well, I mean, I've always thought his floor game should be better too, especially with Cat. Like, him having somebody as talented was Cat. Him and Cat communication has to be better. There's something wrong when it comes to that. And we've always said that Brunson's floor game needs to be better. I'm just saying that the stuff that he's doing, he's always done. And we've been winning because he's been doing that. And other players need to be better, or we need to put Jalen Brunson in better positions in order for him to be better. Like the whole moving to the 2 thing. Yeah. Like, stuff like that might need to happen, because if I have to count on Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby to have good games to win a championship, we're not going to win a championship. I brought that up before. They're not second options.
Before. Why are we still talking?
Like they're not second options, and people keep trying to put them in as the second option, maybe because they don't like Cat, because Cat is supposed to be the second option. Them other 2 dudes ain't the second option. They're not going to be ever. They're not second option type of players. They are who they are at this point, just like everybody else is. All of these dudes are vets. None of them are young players anymore. They've been in the game for like 10 years and plus, except for Jalen Brunson. Like Jalen Brunson and Bridges and stuff, they've been in the game for like 8 years. Cat has been here for over a decade. They're not going to change the way they play. You just have to form the roster how you think they should fit in order for us to win a championship. And how the roster is constructed now, Jalen Brunson needs more help. How is that possible with the roster that we have?
So, second week, shots fired. So if I'm hearing you correctly, when everyone is talking about he needs to pass the ball around and he needs to share it, what I'm hearing from you is that these guys ain't all that great around him.
Who is he supposed like? Because they can be great at spots, people think they're great all the time. They are inconsistent. OG Anunoby is inconsistent. Bridges is inconsistent. They don't play the same way most of the time. Cat was consistent, and he's been inconsistent this year, so I don't put him in that category. I think Cat is a number 2 if he's playing like that. He has the talent too, and he's been playing like that his whole career. This year, I don't know what's wrong. He's having a bad season, but he's not a bad player. I don't put him in that category as Bridges and OG. Them dudes ain't it. Not when it comes to being the second option on a team. They're good for what their roles are good at, but if I have to count on them to win a championship, we're not going to win one.
When you say count on them, meaning in their roles, playing off of Brunson and Cat, you don't think so basically you don't think we can win a championship with them?
Well, not if everybody think that their role is supposed to expand on the offensive end in order for us to win, because they're inconsistent. They're not going to turn into them people. Like I don't know what people waiting for. Like when is Bridges, like even me, I've been calling Bridges the X factor since he got here, or he's supposed to be. Like I said before, it's almost like putting a round peg in a square hole. He's obviously not going to be that, for long stretches of time. He's not consistent enough. So it's as long as you're inconsistent, you will always be a role player. That's almost like the definition of one, or you just come off the bench.
Can I counter that for a second, Queen, if you don't mind? Because
I was about to say before we get back to the chat, anybody have anything to say?
This is our first year under Mike Brown, right? So it's definitely that new system that we're bringing. And from my vision, what I see is that with Cat needs a traditional point guard on the floor to kind of feed him in certain aspects and get him going. When Kolek plays a certain amount of minutes, you can see that growth helps out Cat a lot. When Josh is in the game, Josh's assist and his cutting in and certain ability help out Cat as well. So those are certain elements that coach right now is still trying to figure out minutes to how to get things going. So it's definitely going to see a fluctuation of up and downs with that. So I think once he gets that solidified, once we're healthy, we will see a better stretch out of Cat to where he'll find the rhythm, because he's getting the ball from certain players that, right now, just not the case. I do think we're a championship team, even with this roster constructed right now. It's just finding the players that mesh together. We have DOR sightings where he'll play the first half and give you 18 points, and then we don't see him again. It's like he needs opportunities against certain teams, things of that nature. We can utilize it, but will he get that opportunity? Probably not. Kolek, same way. When he gets minutes and he's rotating, knocking down shots, but also facilitating, which we need, we see that it's Brunson is best when we have a traditional point guard. But now we got Deuce in the starting lineup, which we desperately need because of his defense. But Deuce is also not a primary point guard that will pass the ball. So that's affecting Cat. So coaching plays a role in all of this. I think once we get that down pack, rotation down pack, they follow the actual system. I truly believe that we should be good. It's just right now, it's just a trial and error. Let's see what works. Let's see what's won't work. But once we're healthy, I think it changes everything, guys.
East Blue Drew, he doesn't need more help, Brunson. All he got to do is move the ball more and play actual defense. So, East Blue Drew, what you're saying is you believe he has the players around him, and if he just moves the ball and gives them more opportunities, we'll be okay.
Steph, what did I say? Pass
No,
the
I
ball
know.
more and play defense. Right? That has been the knock on him
He's
since
talking like your parents. What the hell did I say? I don't care what he
I
said.
told
What the
you.
hell did I say?
It's the same criticism that he's always going to get if you don't like that style of,
But I have a little slight pushback on it, and the only reason is because it's I don't think it's really like there's our opinions, but the system calls for it. The system calls for him to move the ball more. So it's not just like say we all have our opinions on it, but the actual system that's implemented. This is why we brought Brown here and why we brought this situation to improve that. So when he bucks somewhat against it, and we see the kind of more isolation, it just kind of brings us back to that, that same movie. And we're trying to see a new movie. That's just how I feel about it.
You can't take isolation totally away from an isolation player.
No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that the system has to move in. Yeah,
you're not going to be a good team.
He's our best. He's our best scorer. Let's just put it that way. He's our best scorer, and we still need him to do what he needs to do, but still within the point of the system.
Right. But what I'm getting, though, between East Blue Drew's comment and Jerrell's comment is not even that. It's not even about not moving the ball. It's you can move the ball all you want. Those guys just ain't it. They're just too inconsistent. And if you're trying to win a championship, it's not going to happen with them elevating them and expecting them to be offensive number twos. Like you're just not going to get that. That's just not who they are. So move the ball around. That's fine. Just know, if I'm hearing you well, Jerrell, just know some games you're going to get something from them and some games you're not. They just not it. And that we need to elevate Cat more. And so that those two guys can play more off of JB and Cat, and even Cat can play off of JB and actually get some easier looks off of Karl Anthony Towns.
I don't put Cat and OG and Bridges in the same category at all. I think Cat on the offensive end is way better than both of them.
Agree.
Way better.
And way more consistent too.
Everything.
He hasn't been that consistent.
Overall, he is like yeah. But
I mean, he just had 6 and 1, Steph. I ain't gonna argue, but so damn much.
He's had some uneven,
right
games, but
do we blame the cup stretch for this down play? Like for me, I thought that we went all out on that, and statistics say that whoever goes that deep in the cup,
history.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, during the cup, right? Because I had put this stat. I think I had typed this stat in one of your pop-up shows, like the post-game show. I mean, like the Knicks since the cup. Like they haven't had 2 days off in a row since the cup.
Mm-hmm.
Like past, I think at the time that was a couple games ago. That was at 12 games. They either had back-to-backs or only 1 day off. And I'm not using that as an excuse, but it could be a thing, especially since Josh Hart isn't playing, and like we are shorthanded when it comes to that. But it's just something to think about. I don't use that as an excuse though.
No,
I think we still should have been. But we still should beat.
Look, I was tired watching the game, so I get it.
Yeah, I think that you could tell they was a little bit run down. I think Brunson. It was either the last game or the game before that. It seemed like he tweaked his knee a little bit, but stuff like that. If you're playing, you can't use that as an excuse, yo. Like there's some of these games we still supposed to be winning. Like if they're not, the energy isn't there and they're playing lethargic, that's on them. Like this is the NBA. You got to play when you're supposed to.
Yeah. I'm not buying the tiredness. Everybody was talking. I think I saw a stat on X that how by this time last year, Josh Hart had played so many 38-minute games. Mikal Bridges had played so many, 40-minute games, blah, 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 and how everybody is rested and nobody has played 40 minutes, only one time, and the bench, the roles is being expanded, and now we're talking about tiredness. 37 games into the season. I don't want to hear it. Even if it's true, I don't want to hear it.
You can tell Steph a coach.
We need to take the pressure off of them. They can't be playing all of these minutes, and now we're doing that. Nobody is playing, maybe somebody played 40 minutes once or twice.
Yeah.
Now we tired. I think the Knicks or the fans, we getting a little soft here.
You can't use being tired as an excuse. Nah, because it's not even like the rotation is short either. Like Mike Brown is actually playing dudes that wasn't in the rotation. So you can't really put that.
I mean, 12, 11. You look at people play 34 minutes, 35. I mean,
different time zones, flights, walkthroughs. Like, I'm a player.
Delusional said, "Look here, man, they got jet lag." How Delusional using jet lag as an excuse?
Yeah, I mean, listen, maybe, yeah, it could be a factor. I don't want to hear it.
The thing is, yeah, you're right.
Brunson is a championship guard, although his game isn't perfect. I wish he had more reliable offensive players around him, though. Sherwin, Brunson is a top 7 player in the NBA. Ivory, 1031. If you're new in the chat, let us know you're new so we can shout you out. Welcome. And if it's not your first time, welcome back. We appreciate you joining us. Salute Knick fans. A better question is, can the Knicks get to the promised land with Jalen Brunson being the only person who can get a quality shot off the dribble under pressure? That's what you're going to need in the playoffs. And that's separate. I'm not saying that we don't need to move the ball. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there's going to be times when things really dry up, it gets tough, and you need somebody other than Brunson that can create a shot. We've seen that. And I don't think that the Knicks have really addressed the ball handling issue. We saw that last year as well.
I think we're good. Sorry if anybody else wanted to go, but I think we're good. Like we stated, this is what the system is for, for this year. That's what the system is for, the ball movement. But this is why we got so many picks for Mikal. He can score in the mid-range and create to a certain extent. I'm not saying that he could power dribble and get you through. But Cat showed us last year in the playoffs that he could hit big shots. It's just how we're going to utilize them. So I think we have the players. I don't think the players is the issue. I think I've been kind of knocking on that same door that it's the system. The system has to fit the players. The players have to fit the system. But I think we do have the players. It don't necessarily have to be ISO. We got JB was the major ISO. You got Cat that can operate out the post like we've seen, which is very vital. And then, of course, you can stretch to 4. We've seen OG at certain times period take over games, but it was through the system. Whether it's a fast break opportunity with him getting in the paint, him hitting a 45 cut, 45 cut, dunking, or just knocking corner 3-pointers. We see Mikal last year have 40 something for the Christmas game, to where the offense was particularly for him. So we've seen, I want to say OG even had 40 last year for us. So we've seen the guys that can get it going. Offense is definitely not our issue. It's the defense.
Yeah. Delusional. You was the one that said we was going to have a top 3 or top 5 or whatever.
Whoa. I was about to say that.
Before the stretch. Hold up, wait. Offense-wise, where we were offense, I think we still in the tops in offense. We still were top.
If you look at us overall, but if you start breaking it down into the last 10, last 5, last 3, the Knicks are.
It's overall, Queen. We do overall.
But we're not trending well, so you can kind of get psyched out by that the overall offensive rating.
Same situation we had last year, where we were kind of up and down, but at the end of the year, we were right there with Tibbs had us in top in offense, but then I think we were 14th for defense, but it kind of trickled into the top 10, but it was just that last stretch in the end of the year. So right. I think we can.
All right. I will say this about ball handling. We saw it last year with Indiana when they really got into Brunson, and then he would pass it to somebody else. And I felt like we didn't have anybody else to really create, barely got it over half court. I'm not a believer in the ball handling on this team against tough defense that really loads up on Brunson. And I hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm wrong. I've just seen it too many times in the playoffs.
Kolek haven't showed you some good stretches.
He had, but he's untested to me. I like Kolek. I like what he's been doing. He's not somebody I would want to count on in the playoffs. I'm not saying he can't give us good minutes. I believe he can, and I believe he will. I think that's a lot to ask that Kolek, a young player, first time in the playoffs, he's your best ball handler outside of Brunson. You're asking a lot from him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he delivered. But the question is that a bet as an organization you want to take going into the playoffs, right? We shall see. Paris Duggan Brunson has won on every level, including here, where he's taken us already to places we haven't been. Yeah, we're talking about the next step, though, but I hear you. Curtis D. Young, Brunson is great, but every player can improve their game. Brunson just has to be quicker in processing his plays. I don't disagree with that. JJ, Brunson can use another player that can create for themselves, so it's not all on him. Yep. Brunson can be the best player on a championship team, but with this roster, he needs to adapt to be a more consistent passer than such a dominant shooter. He might want to mix some passing in there, but I don't think those players around him is to the point where he could take a real step back. Like, say, for example, if we had KD on this team and we had, give me another wing, Steph. That might be too much. Like, he could take a real step back. You know, he could take a real step back, and he could probably become more of a facilitator on a team like that. I don't think we have those types of weapons. I think it's better than last year. Don't get me wrong in terms of how they're utilized. So I do think he can pass, he can move the ball more. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think those guys are at that level where he could just switch his game up and not be a dominant scorer. I think we're just talking more about levels, percentages, maybe levels, percentage of it. All right. Let me see. Let's mix it up a little bit and hear from some of the new players. Jose G Insight. You acting like these players don't know what they need to do to win? Okay.
Why they keep losing? Oh, you mean like win? Like, do you mean win a championship or like win individual games? I don't know when he was talking about in the chat.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe clarify that for us. Steph wants a bench full of Harlem Globetrotters as ball handling. Yeah. I've seen it get tight, and you don't have. They say you can't never have enough shooters. I think you can never have enough ball handlers. It just really makes your offense much more dynamic.
Jose answered. He said championship.
Okay.
Like they don't know. They know how to win.
Curly Neal to the rescue.
Right. Break forever. I don't know if this is your first time. If it is, welcome. If not, welcome back. I love all my Knick players. Don't blame Brunson, or should I say Captain Clutch? Okay. Me, JJ, we on that hill by ourselves. Ball handling is a huge issue. I
think we're going to fix that. I think so.
You think so?
How you fix
it? So.
Like with a trade?
You got the buyout market. You also got.
I don't think the Knicks can. The Knicks, Geoff, can the Knicks?
Yeah, we got.
If they make less than, if they're being paid less than $14 million, then the Knicks can sign someone on the buyout market. But you're not going to get anybody who's going to play significant minutes on the buyout market. I don't. If you want to make a trade for a Jose Alvarado, maybe that'll help some. I don't know. I'm not sure that he certainly would help the point of attack defense. I don't know that he's the, ball. I don't know that he's a wizard handling the ball. But you could sign some from the buyout market. But if you look at the people who have signed via the buyout market, they're usually very low minutes players, and their contributions are next to nil. So I don't, if you're hoping for,
don't mean it can't be. we might get a gem.
Look, I have 2 players that fit a mold for me that'll be amazing, and people are definitely gonna go 50-50 with it. We still got Ben Simmons on the boat fishing right now. That's a player you can look at that kind of squeeze in and just knocks out all of that. A 6'10" point guard that can defend front line and play all 5 positions. But like I said, we don't know mentally where he at, so that's a whole different aspect.
Didn't his agent quit because he didn't want to play basketball anymore?
I don't know.
We can't even sign him, man. He ain't got no
representation. If you thought the other guys said that they were frightened, for the ball, look, when Brunson things get tight, he would really, he might close in, but who knows?
Hope not. But then you got Chris Paul sitting at home making training videos. So that's and I know his height plays another role of us always saying another smaller guy.
I'm good with Chris
and
Paul.
he's old. So his
personality.
Me and you both.
Yeah, his personality is too overwhelming.
I think that's that's what we need.
I think for this team, his personality it's what's needed. I think so.
I don't know. I think he may drive the players a different way at him.
I got a question. Y'all want Chris Paul to do what exactly on this team?
Oh no! So this is ball handling. We're talking ball handling and facilitate. That was the topic that we were talking about mainly.
So pretty much like maybe he could take Cole's minutes. That's what you're saying. Like in the playoffs, like take Cole's minutes. Pretty much. Pretty much,
because she said she didn't. This first. Well, technically it's not his first year, but getting that much minutes and playing in crucial playoff games. So I'm like, why not go with one of the proven PGs of all time?
And listen, you can even play Kolek. Just have somebody there just in case it falls apart.
I just think he's too brass for the locker room. That's my only thing about that.
Maybe that's what the Knicks need. You think about when Michael Jordan, Kobe. I mean, but that was their team though, right? It wasn't like
they was Jordan and Kobe at the time.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Like Kobe couldn't, like they were Jordan and Kobe at the time. At one point, Jordan couldn't say nothing to you, like depending on how old he was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when he was with the Wizards, I'm pretty sure, he had to take a second, backseat a little bit when he got older. But I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And do we have that veteran presence this year that's like in a Forcer or someone that's there talking and doing any of that? No Taj Gibson, no Tucker. So Chris, having that mindset, it could be needed. But
yeah, our tough guy is Josh Hart.
Yeah.
Josh Hart is our tough guy. That's about it.
We dying.
David Smith said he's still playing through the quad strain from the second game of the season. Okay. All right.
We need a real power forward. Yeah. I here talking about bringing Chris Paul because he's a tough guy. And then
we need both. We need both. That was just on the topic of discussion. We need a power forward too. AJ, you right.
I'll take a 6'9" power forward or a 6'7" power forward with an edge to him though. Somebody with an edge to him.
Or 6'9", 6'7", anything. It could be a good guard that's that tall. It could be a good wing that's tall. Like somebody good.
Defense.
Why not Mo?
Who?
Just not ready yet.
Mo's not ready?
Give me like 3 years.
Not just yet.
Get him ready. I've seen stints of where he's guarding the point guard, staying in front of the point guard, playing great defense. Right? Granted, he's deer in the headlights, but why is that? Because of no reps. Get that man some reps. You take him out when he had one of the best games of his career in the
at the expense of who? Delusional.
Well, I mean, right now while we have all the injury stuff, Queen. That's all.
He fell out the rotation for a reason. He was starting. Only getting 16 minutes though in those little fake starts, but he was starting.
Steph, one of them starts, he played under 10. Like it was like 5 or 6 minutes.
And that was right after he had 18 in the first game. The next game, I think he shot one air ball. Man, just Tibbs them.
Yeah.
Tibbs them like Tibbs is a Tibbs is a verb, man.
He did them.
What do y'all think about Clint Capella?
Oh,
You're saying you need a backup 4. He's third string in Houston. You'd probably have to rope in a third team because I don't know that we have, what they need probably is another guard, but because I don't know that you would want to give up Kolek in that deal. I don't think I would, but what do you think about a guy like Capella?
Is he fully healthy?
Yeah, because he gets hurt a lot.
Like if he's fully healthy, I wouldn't mind that. That's something to look at. They might give him up for something, not that much. Because like Geoff said, he is like third string out there.
Akindon, I think, you're new to me in the chat. Let me know if this is your first time. I appreciate you stopping by. Please stop saying they are inconsistent. Their attempts are inconsistent. What do you want OG and Bridges to do with 10 to 13 attempts? Wow.
10 to 13.
Whatever they're going to do, because that's the amount of attempts that I want them to have. I want them to make about 5 or 6 of them at least.
Some players need 4 to 6 shots to warm up. That's like half their attempts.
Yeah, inconsistent ones. Need that many to warm up.
I understand what Akindon is saying from a player's perspective. I get it, but yeah, not on this roster.
10 to 30.
I get it.
I mean, I'm looking at OG Anunoby stats right now. He averages 12 shots a game, 11.6. Last year, he averaged 14.
He's getting less shots this year?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't tell. Some of these games, he those 3-pointers.
And it's two less shots a game, but it is less.
And he's averaging more, right?
He was averaging more last year, yeah. 2 more last year.
Is it?
No, meaning points. He's averaging more points this year than last year.
No, he only averages 15 this year. Like
really?
15.3.
I think
last year was 18.
What was he averaging last year?
18.
18.
Wow.
Jerrell,
that was the most of his career.
Listen,
he's never been a scorer.
I bet you he has more turnovers this year.
Turnovers.
Because all them slipping and sliding and falling and all the tripping.
1.4 compared 1.4 last year, 2.1. Slight uptick, but yeah, averaging more.
Okay,
he still got handles.
That's why he's getting less shot. So he's getting the same amount of touches, but he don't get to put the ball up because he turned it over.
I also think if we probably took out the last 5 games, he probably would be averaging more shots. But okay, wow, I did not know that. I thought he was taking more shots than last year. He just seemed to be more involved.
It was just them like that 5-game stretch where everybody thought he was Superman, and then
even me, his handle, man,
still the same. Yeah. Like I like OG. He really is inconsistent. He's always been like that. This ain't nothing new. He was like that in Toronto. Like I think that's just the type of player he is.
No, he's a total different player from Toronto to now, though. Totally different.
Well, I'm just talking about his inconsistencies on the offensive game. Like he has gotten a lot better, but like 18 points last year was his career high. Like he always averaged like around 15, 14-ish every year. Yeah, he's never been a scorer. Like he's not a scorer. Not like that. Bridges is more of a scorer than OG is.
Are we supposed to remember, Jambroni, everybody's stats? Every player, what they averaging, their turnovers, their
yeah, I just know that because it's right. Like I had to look it up right here. I didn't know all this stats like that. No.
Okay. Okay. All right. Anything else on Brunson? I want to talk about Brown a little bit.
Let's get to Brown.
No,
I just want to shout out some of the new ones in the chat real quick.
Nothing about Cat though.
Kadeem, right? Knicks
Skin
need
the cat.
Precious or Bobby Portis. I like Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
Richard Shomo. I hope I got that right. Don't forget they're not playing 40 minutes a game. And Jersey Cards. Imagine arguments about sports and athletes that have a script every night. Pro sports are rigged 100%.
Oh wow!
Well, look, who do I gotta pay so we
That
can
was
win then?
That was
Right?
Yeah, that part.
We're ready to send a check. You like?
Yeah.
They could take that Roth
James-
IRA. I'm good.
James Dolan should be rich enough to change that strip every once in a while.
Just tell me the final scores.
Right?
I'm good at that.
Right. Byron Arnold, Harlem in the building. Shout out to Harlem. Yeah, let us know where you from.
Big up Harlem,
Brooklyn in the house over here. Let me know where you from.
Brooklyn.
All right. Okay, we got to talk about Mike Brown. Sherwin, I predicted Brown would be fired by the All-Star break. Sherwin.
Yikes.
I now like the guy. He's a lot like Tibbs, but faster. You think he's a lot like Tibbs? All right, we'll
How he predicted he's gonna get
You're
fired by the All-Star break.
Flatbush, Brooklyn.
Salute.
We out here,
Brooklyn, of
Flatbush.
course.
Bush.
Brooklyn,
Boogie down.
KNY, 1982, of course.
Jose.
Boogie down, Bronx in the house.
Louisiana.
Oh man. East New York, Brooklyn.
That's
A lot
what's
of
up.
Brooklyn cats in here. Anybody else from out
I
of
knew Jabroni was from East New York the way he came with that energy.
right.
Most populated borough.
Raheem, Indianapolis.
Indiana.
That's what's up. Salute.
Okay,
That's
okay.
tough right there. The last 2 years, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reese Anderson from Harlem, but live in the Bronx now.
It's affordable more than the Bronx.
East
Harlem's gotten
Flatbush.
unaffordable.
You know, barely.
yeah, true. True.
Save like $5 a month on rent. Barely.
Magic
Same-
price it out over here.
No, I'm telling you, man. The Bronx is the Bronx is getting up there now.
It's disrespectful, man.
No. It's actually not. It's actually a company. I'm saying it's just as much, just as expensive as Uptown right now.
No, they're all disrespectful.
JJ is Brooklyn, but he said he was born and raised in Queens.
Oh, that's what's up.
David Smith, Strong Island.
I'm about to say, is this? Hold on, though. Is this where y'all from, or this where y'all live now? Everybody
Jamaica,
repping Brooklyn.
Queens.
I don't mean y'all live there, because I don't live there.
Born in Brownsville, raised in East New York.
Brownsville.
Oh man, you got that mixture, baby. That's a
Yeah.
combo right there.
Oh, Brownsville and East New York.
Shout out Jabroni, but it's probably right across the street because
Jabroni.
two sections right next to each other.
Yeah, no, I'm in Flatbush, so we right there.
You don't know how to fight. I know that.
East New York, Dripmore. A lot of Brooklyn in the house.
Go all y'all trouble.
Oh, and that dope soul block party soon.
Salute
Yeah,
to E.
Ron was in here earlier from Still Knick fans. He's Brooklyn, right?
Brooklyn, yeah.
Salute to E-Rule. E-Rule
Yeah.
from East New York.
East New York.
East New
Right.
York. Yeah, Euro.
That's how I know all y'all trouble. Everybody from East New York trouble. Yo.
Mother Gaston Village. Wow.
Mother
Brownsville.
Yeah, Mother Gaston. So we used to get the fish. Remember the fish market used to be on Mother Gaston.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if it's still there.
No, I don't think so. The
And
seafood-
People's Choice, the meat market, you go in.
Yeah, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
All right.
a little risk, but you went.
Sunset Park. All right. Jersey. Okay. All right. Let's get into Mike Brown. Let's talk about what you were expecting from Mike Brown with the firing of Tom Thibodeau. And again, it's 37, 38 games. Only reason I'm bringing it up because, again, during the 4-game losing streak, there was some complaints about Mike Brown throughout. But similar to Brunson and that 4-game winning streak, that's when it came out more, particularly in that's right, particularly in on X. You know, he was suspect. What were you, when Tibbs got fired, what were you looking for in Mike Brown, and what have you gotten from him? Still Knick fans in the house. Born in Williamsburg, raised in Williamsburg, back in Williamsburg. Yeah.
My boy wrong.
All right. Jeff, haven't heard from you in a while. Your expectation when Tibbs was fired and Mike Brown was hired, and what have you seen
I felt
so
like
far?
he was kind of a similar coach to Tibbs. And that's kind of what I liked about him is he had, he's a high floor guy, and I thought that he would have a minimum standard of conduct. And up until those 3 games last week, we really saw that, I think, from him. I'm not. I understand his offensive system. I'm not sure why the team decided to run away from it for a week. That was kind of weird. But I like the idea of getting the ball across half court quickly and the spray and pray. I think that fits with what we do. I don't know that anybody is going to turn this team into a defensive juggernaut. So from that standpoint, I think that he's done a decent job. To me, he is kind of what I thought he was going to be. I think that we're about where I expected we would be with Brown as coach. I didn't expect him to be, a lot better than Tibbs or a lot worse, just different, right? Because I think the key phrase when he was hired was collaborative, right? And so I think that's code for play the kids a little bit more, and he's done that, and we've seen some good things from that. I think that Diawara getting minutes was kind of a refreshing change that I don't think you would have seen under Thibodeau. Kolek has certainly grown into a role. I think has shown that he can be, a second string point guard. During stretches, his point of attack defense has definitely improved. And I will say this, I think he's been through a lot of adversity in his first 30 some odd games. We've had a lot of different injuries that he's had to deal with, and people being in and out of the lineup. And for the most part, it's been next man up mentality, and we've gotten a lot of wins in spite of missing JB for a couple games and missing Cat for a couple games. And, Hart's been out for 5 to 7 games. I don't remember the last time Shamet was in a game, right? And Deuce missed extended time, and Mitch is on like every third day he gets to play from his minutes restrictions. I don't really understand how all that works, but again, so I think that he's dealing with less than ideal circumstances in a lot of ways, and the team has responded well. But at the same time, I think it's a really veteran group, and you would kind of expect that from a veteran group like we have. Like our top 7 guys are all guys who've been the league for at least 6 seasons. So and they've been deep in the playoffs and so forth. So you would kind of expect that there was a certain level of maturity and taking care of business than you would from, say, a team that's a lot younger, like when Thibodeau took over the Knicks and we had RJ and Quickly and all of these precocious neophytes, as Clyde would say. And so I think it's a different atmosphere, and a lot of the culture was already built in, and he could just kind of plug and play. And I think he's done a good job, not a great job. I just think he's been good, and he's about what I expected him to be.
Has he been the upgrade you expected so far?
I'm not sure he's been an upgrade. I think he's about the same. I think that he's done a good job. There's not a lot of things that I point to and I say, yeah, this is way better. I was never a member of the minutes police, so that part never really fazed me or bothered me, except for the fact that Josh Hart said he was out of gas come the Indiana series. So I guess from that standpoint, yes, that's better. But I don't know. I kind of feel like, again, I think he's doing a good job, but I don't know that he's like I don't see any area that's just a vast improvement that says, yes, this is, coach of the year, material or anything like that. I think he's been good. I think that he has his weaknesses. I don't think he's found the right way to utilize Towns and Brunson the best way that they can be used. But at the same time, Brunson's dribbles are down, and similar to the way that De'Aaron Fox's went down when he was the coach in Sacramento. So I think you give him credit for that. He's not pounding the ball nearly as much as he did under Thibodeau. So I think he's been good, but not great.
Okay. All right. Delusional.
So it's very tough to kind of grade it, but I'll give him a B right now. My main aspect with him is I think the locker room aspect is different. With them having a defensive of the player of the game, awards and stuff like that. I like that being added to that. So that shows character, that builds character with the team. And it gives them kind of something to rely on each night that they have a goal to kind of get to. I still sent a tweet out to say, JB, can you get me one of those at least? So we show that you play a defense. But I like that addition. Also, too, is the inclusion of the assistant coaches now. Like you have one of the coaches drawing up plays for them. You have a defensive coordinator coach that's out there doing that. And Mike just kind of oversees that and give his last point. So I like that aspect. And then the key thing is after each game, and this is how I know the Knicks can get better, he literally break down what went wrong. And it's stuff that we see on the floor, and he pinpoints it. So he clearly see what's going on. So if you see what's going on, I think that they can fix it. And he always talks about we're not playing our best basketball because he preaches getting the ball up the court. He said we're not fast enough. So he states every game what we're doing wrong, stuff that he said that he wanted to change. So now it's up to him and the coaching staff to change it because they see the issue. That I think is very key for us, is that he sees the issues and say that we can get better. This is how we can get better, and tells us. Now they just gotta, put it on the floor. So whether that is them getting more practices or stuff like that during a season where it's just kind of tough, but I do think that we can get better due to the fact that they know what's the issue and he say how we can fix it, and it makes sense from a paper standpoint.
All right. Ajay, has Mike Brown been an upgrade so far, and what have you seen? Positively or negatively, however you want to go with it.
I mean, I don't think, I think I'll be able to judge better at the end of the season.
Of course.
But upgrade or downgrade, I mean, it's just a change. And, I was all for it. I didn't want Tom Thibodeau here anymore. I just wanted him out of here. And I'm glad they got rid of him. Not because he wasn't a good coach, because I feel like he's reached his, where he could take this team, and they needed a different voice. They needed somebody who do certain things different. I feel that Mike Brown is a better game manager than Tom Thibodeau was. But I do feel like Tom Thibodeau was getting more out of the players, out of what he has, than Mike Brown. But in terms of managing the game and being able to make adjustments on the fly, and throwing things at other teams that they have to make adjustments to, I think he's better. He's probably better at that so far. So but I don't know. I mean, we'll be able to judge better, like who's better, who's a better X's and O's guys at the end of the season. But I like the changes I see. I like the fact that every now and then, he plays out of the blue, he'll play a guy like more minutes. So these guys are really they're forced to stay ready because they really don't know when they're gonna be called upon. Tibbs would tell the guys stay ready, but then he never called them to play. But these guys, every now and then out of the blue, Mike Brown tell them, come on, DOR the other day, play like first half, give you 18 points. Like, so that kid, he's going to be ready because he doesn't know when he's going to get that other opportunity to put up those points, to do something like that again. And remember that's those kids, that's their career, that's their lives. So they have, they really have this theory. So I like the way he manages the games a little bit more than Tom Thibodeau did. He doesn't have that. His management is not based on clockwork like the way we had in the past. Like at one point, mid first quarter, a couple of guys come off, the other guys come on, regardless of what's going on in the game. He doesn't do that. He actually kind of reads the game and make the substitutions based on what he sees on the floor.
Okay. Knick Nation, then Jerrell.
Okay. Well, it's tough to go after all of these great guys because they've all had great takes. So,
you could piggyback off.
Yeah, no, it's a few things that I have. Hey, and listen here, if you people here are still in the chat because they're still going feverishly at it, please hit that like and subscribe and share button, please. Good people, I'm gonna say this: Mike Brown, I'm gonna give him a B to a B plus, and I'm leaning more of a B plus. I think that he's more. The difference for me between him and Tibbs that I can recognize off the bat, he seems more relatable to the players. I think that, Tibbs, like you say, his word and his position, I think it carried, but so far, and then I don't think it was carrying too much anymore. I think that the players generally seem a little bit more cohesive now. I like his style. I like his ability right there in real time to take a player and give him some coaching and the player embrace it and move forward. I definitely really like those, particular aspects. I understood that he was a player's coach, but he doesn't seem like on post-game shows that he won't hold back from calling players out as well. So I can respect that because I believe, like he says it to the players, and the players want it. They want a lot of that hard coaching. So I like that. And to be honest, it's like, because it's like let's say Deuce McBride. And I take Deuce McBride wise because it's like Tibbs gave him, he's so grateful for it because Tibbs gave him every opportunity and every chance. So, but you could still see the way that Deuce talks about Brown, that there were aspects that he feels better about and more comfortable about. He's said it, that he felt, the information of things that's being shared with him now, he's, it's fairly new for him to seem like to be more included in the process. And as we know, inclusion makes everything as far as better. That's how I see Mike Brown is right now.
Okay. Jerrell?
Well, Steph, after all of that, I think I'm going to go quick. I think he's obviously different for all the reasons everybody else said. Do I think he's an upgrade? Not an upgrade. He's just different. Like, he's obviously a better communicator. Who knows who's a better leader so far? Like, the season hasn't ended. We haven't seen Mike Brown in the playoffs, at least not with this team. So I think he's obviously different, and I think that's all I could really go off of. Like, if we are grading because we're the second seed and not the first, a B. Just like, I think not Delusional. Did you give him a B? Somebody gave him a grade besides.
I gave him a B.
I gave him a B plus.
Yeah, B plus. That sounds about right. We're tied for second in the East right now. Yeah, I think a lot of this is players. Like, the players got to play a lot better. But I think, I don't think he's been a surprise. Like, I never thought Mike Brown was a bad coach. I thought he was going to come in here and just be different. Now, the difference that I see is the same stuff everybody else has been saying. I don't want to just repeat and go in circles. But, yeah, he's just been different. And the different things that he does, I like. But it's not like I wanted to, like, I'm not like Ajay. I didn't want Tibbs out of here. Like, it's, I didn't defend him that much, but I knew that if he was gone, it's not like I cried for it either. So I just think he was different. I think he is a good coach, and we'll see, how he does come playoff time, because that's what I'm really, waiting for. I think now he's just throwing stuff out there. He needs to know what his guys are capable of, especially the young guys. Until then, it's either incomplete or we have to wait till the playoffs start.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that some of the things in which he's different, I don't care about as much as others do. Like that he's pulling people to the side and talking to them like that. Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't make a difference. I'm sure players feel more connected when he does. Like I get all of that, but I'm just saying for me, that's not my focus. My focus is schematics, lineups, and adjustments. Like that's my focus. That they can play, and I said this before, that they can play music in the locker room now, and they couldn't play with okay. That he's talking to people and Tibbs didn't talk to okay.
Yo, Steph, you tough, Steph. Like you,
like those,
coach, man.
like those things are as far as the connectivity, I get it. I get that. But when we're talking about winning a chip, it's the schematics, the lineups, and the adjustments. Like that's my focus on Mike Brown, and we'll know more in the playoffs. But I like what he wants to do. I don't think the Knicks execute it all the time, but I like that he wants to get the ball over half court in a few seconds so we can go through our actions a few times and find the best shot. I like that. I like that he wants Brunson to play off ball more, that he wants ball movement. He wants player movements. He wants other players involved because that makes it easier for Brunson. Like if those guys are involved and they're hitting shots, Brunson is going to get more space, right? If Brunson is playing off ball, hopefully he's a little fresher in the fourth quarter. So I like that. I think we can get more out of Cat, but listen, maybe he sees something we don't see, right? I think we can get more out of Karl-Anthony Towns. So I'm interested in that. So defensively, I don't think we've been good at all. He has played zone, and the zone hasn't looked good either. So that could also be a personnel issue. Like I just feel like people are all on the Knicks about the defense, all on Brown about the defense. I think you might have to talk to the front office too about the defense. I think roster construction has a lot to do with the defense as well. I like the fact that he tinkers with the lineup. Sometimes I feel like it's too much, but so it's that fine line between giving guys a chance, seeing what you have, but then also continuity, particularly in a new system. The more reps you can get, the better. So, I think that'll settle down a little bit. But I do like the fact that guys get spot duty. I like the fact that he'll go to somebody in a pinch, changing the starting lineups. Some would say that's great, depending on the matchup. Others will say we need that continuity. I tend to fall on the continuity. Side. But yeah, I like what he wants to do offensively, just to sum it up. I don't think we're there defensively. Not sure that's all his fault. And the lineups have been a little all over the place for me. But I get some of it. I just think it's been too long. It's like too much tinkering. Just too much.
Steph, you giving him a D? What were you giving him?
Nah, I don't know if I have a grade. I have a grade. I think he is an upgrade from Tom Thibodeau offensively, schematically. I think he's an upgrade from Thibodeau in terms of managing minutes and keeping guys fresh. Is he an upgrade from Thibodeau in terms of adjustments? We'll see. Things get tight in the playoffs, not just for the players. It gets tight in the playoffs for the coaches as well, right? So, yeah, in those two areas, I think it's been an upgrade. Yeah. Anything else?
I just think that he fits this generation a little bit more. because this generation, like I know how you say you don't care about it, but this generation, because for let's just say our generation, in a sense, this generation is different. This is the generation of inclusive trophies. Like, everybody gets a trophy. These guys are a lot more sensitive in today's times. And I just think it takes a little bit different approach to relate to some of these players. So that's why I'm kind of, I think that's why I kind of say that, is because
I agree with you. I'm just saying how much of that is going to impact winning when we get into the playoffs. Is that going to help somebody hit another shot? You know what I mean? I get what you're saying. And that's what I said. In terms of connectivity, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Is that going to help them hit free throws, increase field goal percentage, and increase three-point percentage, perform better down the stretch?
Sometimes I think so, because if it's like anything else, was everybody happy coming to work with Tibbs? Some probably were not. You know what I mean? And I think you're a better player and a better person when you have somebody who's more relatable to you and you're more happy actually just coming to work. You can get paid whatever sometimes, because you can see a lot of these players, they get paid and then they, doing, nonsense. But I think these guys are more happier in just a more upbeat position with themselves now.
Will that translate to better play in the playoffs? I hear you. I hear what you're saying. I get it.
Our lips to God's ears, please.
That's the right answer.
Places like that too, where I'm like, God damn, you know what I mean? In terms of going to work, like, I really don't want to, be there. So I get it. And I've worked in other places where it was just great, to go to work. I would have to think that I perform better in either situation,
Definitely.
Did you?
Party. Care about no damn music in the locker room. Can you hit a shot? Hit a shot.
Walker, it's important that Mike Brown lets Knicks play music in the locker room. I mean, listen, in terms of the experience, I get it. I'm just saying, like,
honestly, I get it when you say it out loud, though.
Huh?
I said I get what people saying. I have like my son is playing basketball now. He's 13. Like I see it, like the sensitivity when it comes to kids now, because I got kids growing up now.
Mm-hmm.
So it ain't the same as when we was growing up. It's just not. Like they care about stuff like that. Not saying that they should, but I guess that's how society is now. This is what it is. Like it's just different.
Okay. East Blue Drew, being able to sit Cat and JB in the fourth is a huge upgrade. Being able to sit them because we have other players that can.
Yeah.
Oh, that he trusts other players?
Yeah, playing the young guys. He like that he playing the young guys.
Okay. Kim Doc, I like the data collection process. Yeah.
Yeah, he did speak about that too.
Yeah. B. Willis, salute, sis. We don't go nowhere without Cat's contributions. Oh boy, David Smith. You gotta I don't know what you want to call it, but you got a partner. Let's put it that way. Okay. Anagra 1, Tibbs voiced many of the same offensive principles, more pace attack, the paint and spray it out, read and react. Some of the language is the same. I do think the actions are different.
I thought Tibbs was wasn't Tibbs like a get it how you live type of coach. Like I disagree with that completely. Like Tibbs used to come to the press conference like, yeah, they do what they do on offense. Like the game come to you. Like, I didn't think he talked like on the offensive end. It didn't seem like he talked scheme much, to be honest.
Yeah, but he only had 5 phrases in his post-game conference, and he just mixed them up in different order. And,
The game tells you what to do. He would say
exactly.
I watched the film. The game tells you what to do.
Right.
It's all medical.
4 times.
Mhm.
All right. Anything else? All right. Anything else in general?
Nah, man, you want to talk about like what's the schedule coming up? Until
We're going that 4-game that four-game road trip starting tomorrow at Phoenix.
Damn.
Yep. West Coast.
Our first
We do
game
get
back.
2 days off though. We do get one game where one of them was 2 days off, but then it's off of a back-to-back or something like that, right?
No, we get Monday, Tuesday off, and then we play Wednesday, Thursday.
That's Monday, Tuesday, then boom, back-to-back.
And
That's what I'm
then
saying.
our first game back home again is against the Phoenix Suns. So we play them twice in the next 8 days.
Right.
They're a good team.
Phoenix,
Play well.
Portland. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
Phoenix is a good team. That's going to be a big challenge for us. We're going to have to bring the intensity for sure.
Yeah, they're playing well lately.
Yeah.
Oh, and can I say this about our Knicks team real quick? In this stretch coming up, the Knicks, when we face like our toughest matchups are athletic, tall, and quick guards. I think that is our weakness. When we play against teams, particularly the Clippers, from watching the show earlier today as well, which I kind of wanted to join, is Clippers really didn't have that point guard that can attack us, really quickly. They had James Harden, but James Harden is not the same James Harden. He's more of a 3-point attempt player, and Kawhi is that mid-range. So it was easy to kind of contest those players and manage that. But if we're going against the Phoenix Suns, you have Devin Booker, and you have I forget the other player name. I just came there from Memphis, and he's killing. These are kind of perimeter players, not really downhill attack, point guards that, and we have players that we can hide JB against the Suns. So I think that we should be able to get that victory over that, as well as Portland and Sacramento. So I think those games we can definitely get a W on, but it's really those teams that have the dynamic front court, which will give us problems. And I think this stretch we should be fine dealing with that because we have players, we have guys that we can hide JB on and still be effective and not get killed at that point of attack. So I think we should be good this week.
Okay. Anything particular you guys are looking for from the Knicks other than just win?
Some consistency on defense.
And on offense, some consistency on offense too.
I'm really interested in how Cat plays. He's had 4 of the last 5 games he's shot below 50% from the field. So I'm kind of hoping to see him really have a good trip and be a focal point and dominate, especially against a team like Phoenix, who shouldn't have anybody who can really guard or contest him. And so I really want to see a big game from Towns, and the 30 assist mark has been, the bellwether stat, right? When we get 30 assists, we almost always win. So sharing is caring. Share the ball, get the W.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Nah, man, go Knicks. Salute to the chat.
Yeah, the chat was very active. We appreciate all of you. Those who are new, first time, be sure to come back. We're on every Thursday, 9 p.m. for the weekly show. And then Jeff and I are on the next day after the Knicks play. If it's a weekday, it's 12:30. If it's a weekend or holiday, around 10 a.m. So we'll be on this Saturday, right, Jeff, at 10 a.m.
Yep, 10 a.m.
Anybody who wants to, join, you could definitely, do that. I should have more time Saturday. Or will I be on the road Saturday? Ooh.
Where you going now, Steph? Steph always
I'm going back to Georgia. I got that good internet now. I could go back and forth. I don't have to worry too much.
She's gonna do the show from the car, like Wiz back in the day.
I wanted to leave early too. I did want to leave early. Well,
you let me know, Queen. I'm up for whatever. My schedule's flexible this weekend, as far as I know. So
yeah, I might have to go earlier than 10.
I'm good with that either way.
All right.
Oh, you know what? I have something. I can't go on Saturday. I'm sorry. I've got something to church. I've got a thing in the morning. I can't do it on Saturday morning. I just remembered that. I'm sorry. I will not be available on Saturday. I got to work.
We might.
Steph, if you need me, I'll come through.
Okay. All right.
That's the upgrade right there. That's the upgrade package right there.
The poor man's package.
And if push come to shove, I'll be in a hotel Saturday evening. So I might go on.
Yeah, I do the marathon with Ron on Saturday. So.
Oh yeah.
More power to you, man.
So you guys, I might be listening to you guys as I'm driving down.
Yeah,
and it'll take the whole trip too, because Ron you'll have leftover. You can listen to it on the way back up too.
You got a good 4.5. You got a good 4.5 on the average.
Yeah. Anyway, Jerrell, Geoff, Delusional, Knick Nation, Ajay. I love the panel tonight. You guys were really, really great. The chat was on point today. I appreciate all of you. The replay gang. Who else? The silent listeners. And we weren't able to take calls today. It's kind of hard when you have 6, on the panel. Is trying to get everybody. Everybody.
Just blame it on me. It's okay.
Yeah, I'll figure this. I'll figure this telephone thing out. I got to try to figure that out. But anyway, until next time, family. Appreciate you.
Peace.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. DopeSoul.
Where you at?
DopeSoul.
Where you at?
DopeSoul.
What?